So you got Caitlin right there, look, shushing him. Giving him the shush. Oh my goodness, look. he like, hey man, take her up. Look. Look, he's still crying. Look, she's shushing me.
Everything changed in that moment. What began as just another regular season game suddenly turned into something much more personal as CaitlinClark silenced an opposing bench that simply would not stop talking, making it clear that the conversation was over. But while most people focused on the players exchanging words, that wasn't the real story unfolding that night. The true battle was brewing with the official in the striped shirt, and before it was all over, it nearly cost the Fever the game.
The end of the game, or just what happened?
The technical, I didn't need an explanation. I deserved it, but it was worth it. The delay of game made no sense. It felt like Tyler wanted to assert himself into the game, and that was ridiculous. So, just not a point in the game he needed to call that. I went and got the ball, went off my foot off the scores table, and then he gave.
Clark didn't shy away from the technical foul, admitting that she earned it, but she also made it clear that the delay of game call, which set everything in motion, made no sense to her. She felt the official unnecessarily inserted himself into a tightly contested game, turning attention away from the action on the court. Whether you agree with her perspective or not, the sequence she described is real, and the footage speaks for itself. So before the officiating became the main storyline, let's rewind to the beginning and take a closer look at what this Fever team was building on the floor.
Pay. Look, you're gonna see what happens. Lacan is gonna go right under this screen, and that's something you never want to do against a shooter, man. You want to go over and try to fight, and CaitlinClark, man, she's smart enough to see that, and she's gonna make you pay every time. Look at this space. That's too much space. Step back, Visine work, splash in the eyeballs, man. Come on, dog. You cannot.
This is exactly why Clark becomes such a nightmare for defenses long before any whistle enters the picture. The moment her defender slipped under the screen and gave her even the smallest window of space, she made them pay with a step-back three. Against a shooter like her, that's a mistake you simply can't afford to make. It immediately set the tone for Indiana's offense, as their two-player action at the top of the floor kept creating opportunities and forcing the defense into difficult decisions. Every time a help defender stepped up, it left someone else wide open on the perimeter. The issue wasn't generating quality shots, it was converting them. The Fever created open three after open three throughout the night, but too many of those opportunities rattled out, turning what could have been a comfortable victory into a hard-fought nail-biter.
Also major in this game, man. Shout out to her with the hustle boards. Look at this. You're going to see the ABC squared formula come. And, of course, somebody gets open. That's Mo in the corner, but great defensive effort by AE. She got a hand on it. Mo gets it. Makes a terrible decision here to try to lay it up on two people. Gets blocked a little bit. Almost makes it, though. Then you're going to see Lexi Hall hustling, not giving up on the play. I'm going to get this sneak. She got the ski mask on. Gets the steal. Aaliyah Boston gets to the top, wide open.
Indiana's offense wasn't relying on just one player. Kelsey Mitchell and Sophie Cunningham provided valuable scoring support, giving the Fever multiple offensive threats that the defense had to account for. Meanwhile, the bigs handled the hard work that often goes unnoticed, battling on the glass, creating deflections, and forcing steals that quickly turned into easy points. Their efforts showed up in every hustle play, keeping possessions alive and generating extra opportunities. The center made a major impact as well, sprinting the floor, outrunning defenders despite her size, and setting smart screens that freed shooters for open looks. While the supporting cast didn't always capitalize on every quality shot they created, their work on rebounds and loose balls never disappeared, proving that hustle and effort can still make a difference even when the shots aren't falling.
Here, they were down 34-36. The Indiana Fever found a way to get a stop, and they did it without even communicating. They did it just off the muscle of knowing where they're supposed to be. Oh, I love that. Watch this. CaitlinClark gets screen. Boom. Now another screen for Kelsey Mitchell here, and they're going to switch. Right? There's the switch, and now you're going to see AB hedge and then turn it into a trap. Now, y'all know how I feel about the Indiana Fever trap, and I didn't like it. They're not that good at it. But watch this. Here comes the trap.
What stood out most wasn't what Indiana did on offense, but how they responded when the game started slipping away. Trailing by a couple of possessions, they switched to screen, hedged aggressively, and instantly turned the action into a trap without a single word being exchanged. That wasn't a coach calling out instructions, it was a team that had spent enough time together to react purely on instinct. They forced the ball out of the opponent's primary option, scrambled into position, recovered flawlessly, and turned strong defense into a stop and a turnover heading the other way. Trapping isn't typically a strength for this group, yet they made it work through relentless effort and determination. Those are the kinds of defensive possessions that keep a team alive when the shots aren't falling, and that's exactly the kind of game this became. Still, the offense continued to run through Clark, and moments like these show why she's different. With two defenders collapsing on her and shooters waiting on both sides, she processed the floor in an instant, firing the ball to the open player before the defense even had a chance to recover. Most players force a mistake in that situation. She creates a clean scoring opportunity. But underneath the highlights, there was a growing concern. Indiana repeatedly asked Clark to chase the ball defensively, fight through screens, and expend energy on nearly every possession. By the closing stages, the effects were visible as a few wide-open jumpers came up short, the kind of misses that come from tired legs rather than poor mechanics. It's something this team will need to manage if they want her at her best when the game is on the line. Then came the sequence that changed everything. Clark came off a screen and absorbed contact high near the head, yet no whistle followed. A closer look showed the screener still moving into the contact, the type of action that often draws a moving screen call. Earlier in the game, Indiana had been called for far less, making the frustration easy to understand. When standards appear to shift from possession to possession, players naturally begin asking questions because it's impossible to adjust to inconsistency. That's when the focus moved away from basketball itself. Clark approached the official looking for an explanation, but instead received a brief response that only increased the tension. The conversation continued, frustration grew on both sides, and the whistle that followed felt less connected to the play and more connected to the disagreement. The timing made it impossible to ignore. In a one-possession game, a technical foul doesn't just affect emotions, it directly impacts the scoreboard by giving the opposition free points and possession at the exact moment when every trip down the floor can decide the outcome. You can argue all day about whether Clark should have kept pushing the conversation with the official, but what's much harder to explain is how the situation was allowed to escalate that far in such a tightly contested game. For a stretch, it genuinely looked like Indiana was about to throw the game away themselves. The momentum had completely shifted, the opponent knocked down a huge three, and suddenly the Fever couldn't take care of the basketball. Passes were sailing out of bounds, routine decisions turned into rushed mistakes, and a team that had been in control all night started forcing plays that weren't there. If the result had gone the other way, this is the stretch everyone would be talking about. They were shaken, and the solution wasn't some brilliant adjustment or a brand new play call. It was simply about regaining composure, slowing everything down, and trusting the offense that had built the lead in the first place. Then came the response. Instead of unraveling completely, Indiana leaned on the players who had it going. Sophie Cunningham caught fire at exactly the right moment, attacking the basket through traffic, knocking down catch-and-shoot threes, and making difficult shots that seemed impossible. When a scorer gets into that kind of rhythm, the smartest move is to keep feeding them, and Indiana did exactly that. Rather than forcing the ball elsewhere, they continued riding the hot hand and let the momentum work in their favor. At the same time, Clark made a decision that changed the tone of the game. After the timeout, after the missed calls, and after all the frustration with the officiating, she stopped focusing on the conversation and started answering with her play. Coming off a staggered screen, she buried a contested three-pointer with a defender right in her face, the kind of shot that doesn't require extra space, favorable calls, or any explanation. That's the response that truly matters. Not the argument. Not the frustration. The bucket. And then came the perfect ending. Late in the game, the opposing bench started talking again, but this time the reaction was different. Cunningham waved them off while Clark walked by with a smile and one more shush. The same gesture that started the night had come full circle, only now it was coming from a team firmly in control. That single moment captured the entire story of the game. Challenged early, confident late. What makes the victory even more impressive is everything Indiana had to overcome to get there. They absorbed a technical foul that handed the opposition free points and possession at the worst possible moment, watched quality shots spin out, committed costly turnovers under pressure, and still found a way to finish the job. Nights like that don't happen often. Usually when that many things go wrong, the scoreboard reflects it. This time, it didn't. And that's why this game feeds into a conversation that continues to follow Clark everywhere she goes. She seems to absorb contact that often sends other players to the free throw line, and she attracts attention, physicality, and constant chatter from opponents in a way few stars in the league do. Part of this is simply the reality of being the biggest name in the sport. When you're the player everyone comes to watch, every possession is analyzed, every reaction becomes a headline, and every whistle sparks debate. That's the burden that comes with being the face of a league. But at the same time, the discussion surrounding Clark goes beyond star power. Night after night, fans, analysts, and even former players continue to question whether her games are being officiated with the consistency that elite players deserve. Whether you agree with those concerns or not, the conversation keeps resurfacing because moments like this keep happening. And for Indiana, that's creating a challenge that extends far beyond X's and O's. Protecting your franchise player isn't just about drawing up better plays or surrounding her with talent. It's about helping her navigate the pressure, the physicality, the constant attention, and the emotions that come with being at the center of every major storyline. What makes this game so fascinating is that the basketball itself was outstanding. The Fever showed resilience when momentum turned against them. They survived turnovers, missed opportunities, questionable moments, and a fourth quarter filled with pressure. Sophie Cunningham stepped up with huge baskets, the supporting cast made winning plays, and Clark once again delivered when the game demanded a star. Yet despite all of that, the post-game conversation wasn't dominated by the shot-making, the comeback, or the execution. Instead, everyone was talking about the officiating, the technical foul, and the growing tension that seems to follow Clark into nearly every high-profile matchup. That's what makes this bigger than a single regular season game. It's becoming part of a season-long narrative. And here's the reality. As Clark's profile continues to grow, these moments are only going to become more intense. The games will get bigger. The spotlight will get brighter. The pressure will increase. Every close call will be dissected from multiple angles, and every emotional reaction will be debated across social media and sports shows. That's the environment that comes with being the league's biggest draw. Fair or unfair, it's the reality she's operating in. The question is whether the league, the officials, and the players around her can keep those storylines from overshadowing what she does best on the court. So now the debate shifts to you. When a one-possession game is impacted by a technical foul, controversial non-calls, and an emotional exchange between a superstar and an official, where do you place the responsibility? Should Clark have simply walked away and focused on the next possession? Or should officials be held accountable for allowing frustration to build in a game that was already boiling over? There are passionate arguments on both sides, and that's exactly why this topic continues to divide fans. One thing is certain, though, games like this don't get forgotten. They become part of a much larger story. Now I want to hear from you. Who do you think was in the wrong? Was Clark justified in her frustration, or did she cross a line that ultimately hurt her team? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because this is a debate that isn't ending anytime soon. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more in-depth coverage of Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever, and the biggest stories happening around the WNBA, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Thank you for watching, thank you for the support, and I'll see you in the next one.